Hey everyone, welcome back to Glass Seats. This is Viddy.
And my name is Mrinal. In this episode, we are focusing on the Metropolitan Division, one of the oldest rivals, one of the most famous rivals. New York Rangers versus the New Jersey Devils had a banger of a game.
Oh yes, they just do not seem to ever make up, do they?
They had a banger of a game, and I don't even know who won.
Yeah, the Rangers, but
oh yeah. But all the excitement happened like 2 seconds into
yeah,
the game.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Give us the lowdown.
Yes. So if you hadn't watched it, first of all, go watch it. Second of all, the quick summary, the TLDR is Matt Rempe. We've talked about him on the show before. So in the previous 2 games against the Devils, he had thrown a couple dirty, controversial hits. I believe he was suspended 4 games for one of them. I don't remember which one it was.
Siegenthaler,
that's right. He got suspended, but more so than that, he wouldn't answer to Curtis McDermott, the defenseman of the New Jersey Devils, veteran. And actually, on the way out of one of those games, he was taunting him, doing the little wave goodbye thing.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And after that kind of led to let's say a heated press exchange in the post-game conference, and McDermott basically straight up said, you can't be a rookie and be not answering the bell for all that, don't really have respect for him, type of that. So tensions were already flaring, I would say, before this game that happened last night. So this game that happened, third and final meeting, I believe final meeting between the two teams this year. Bad blood was already arising. People were already jawing at each other at the opening faceoff, and it was you could kind of already tell something was going to happen. The cameramen were already on McDermott and Rempe, and things were ready to go. What nobody expected was basically a 5 or I guess 10 person line brawl right off the bat.
Yeah,
and I think it started with
all 5 players on the ice fighting each other.
Yeah, I can't remember who it started with, but everyone just picked a partner.
It started with Rempe and McDermott.
I don't think so, because that's why they were booted out of the game. There's some. I don't agree with this rule at all, but
I mean, at least what I can see from the highlights that I've watched, it looks like everybody was waiting for Rempe and McDermott to go,
but somebody beat them.
But somebody got this.
Yeah,
because,
I think it was VC and somebody else. Yeah.
Rempe and McDermott started doing the thing where they're sizing each other up and circling around each other.
Yeah.
So they weren't actually the first to exchange blows.
Yeah.
But I do think they were the catalyst.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, they were. Which is a stupid rule, by the way. I don't like that rule at all.
The instigator?
Yeah, I thought it would have been cool to just see both penalty boxes super full, and all the memes would have been great marketing too.
Yeah, but this is what the modern fighting in the NHL is, right? It's about game management. I hate that term, but it's what the refs use. And it's, you don't want this to fire up again. Yeah. So that's why they'll find some scapegoat to boot out of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Either way. Great start to the game, and the fans there had a great time, obviously. And it kind of just, I wouldn't say it spiraled out of control, but it definitely got everyone fired up, and the game continued eventually, or I think eventually New York scored first, or maybe the first 2 ones, and then Devils went 3-2, but the game ended up being 4-3 Rangers. So. So at the end, Rangers got the last laugh, but the crazy part is that went to social media, and that blew up on social media, and for the first time ever, we're seeing hockey posted on sports pages. Shocker.
You shouldn't say first time ever. First time in a long time in a positive light.
Yes,
put it that way.
Yeah,
because it's escaped the hockey sphere before, but it's always been negative stories, something that the league messed up PR wise or management wise. But it's been a long time since we've seen a positive, hey, this is actually a cool highlight.
Yeah, I think the last time I remember seeing something positive on sports pages, like hockey wise, that wasn't legacy related or highlight related, was the Golden Knights made the cup final in their first year, which pretty cool. Yeah, obviously. But
the whole Vegas, because they were the first major sports franchise in Vegas. Yeah. And then going on that Cinderella run their first year.
Yeah. Yeah. And cool, it is cool, but even more than that, that line brawl is as a video as a whole is just kind of making its way to actual meme pages and stuff, not sports related major accounts and stuff. And I think this is great. I think this is great for the sport, and it's a shame that the NHL won't market it.
It's a tricky place to be in, because the NHL has to handle all the CTE negativity that comes with a a physical sport, but there's no denying that the physicality is a draw of hockey.
Yeah.
So when you see something like this is what people or casual fans will remember about hockey, is that it's the physical sport. It's a sport where you can fight people, so having to balance drawing people in that way and balancing that, or trying to fight a lawsuit that says, that hockey causes concussion symptoms later on in life or has long-term medical problems is a tough line to balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of the comments I had seen were like, oh, why didn't they take their helmets off and stuff? And, actual NHL fans were in the comments because they were as geeked as we were. And they were just kind of explaining like, hey, it's, people have had life-altering injuries because their head hit the ice after a fight or whatever, stuff like that. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. So it's cool. Like, people like you and I are actually explaining this game that we love to people who are seeing it on a meme page, and very unconventional way of getting the sport out there, because the NHL just won't, make their sport affordable.
Right. I feel like it's also the more sustainable way, right? Like, there's only so much marketing you can do, but a sport really only grows when there's a grassroots movement.
Yeah, organic social. People have to be talking about this stuff. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. We talked about it with the documentary that's going to come soon. Yeah, like, people are going to hopefully organically talk about it the way they did for Drive to Survive.
Yeah, and Drive to Survive capitalized on not capitalized, but I should say, but lucked out with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because everybody was home and it became like a big thing to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. So, hopefully this is the start of a good thing, and I really hope this is a clear explanation of why fighting should continue like remaining in the sport, not just for marketable purposes, but, settling beef purposes. I should also mention that Curtis McDermott himself was, he kind of had a change of heart about Matt Rempe after he fought him, like, it was like, oh, he's big, tough kid. Hopefully he evolves his game and, he has my respect now. I was like, good. Now you have a story to tell.
And that fight ended in a draw too, right? They both just ran out of steam.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because a lot of the Rangers, I wouldn't say a lot, but I at least saw Rempe himself and I think Keandre Miller both posted pictures of them like
fighting,
slugging Devils players, and man, those comments are heated. But that is also good for the sport, in my opinion.
Having players show their personality a little.
I don't follow either of those guys. Those both showed up on my Explore page.
Same.
So I was like, there you go. Like, I mean, just because the algorithm is like blessing, high engagement, it's still working, right? Like, is that not still organic social?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's also talk about the impact this has on the Rangers.
Yes.
Playoffs are a week, 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Don't you think this is a huge like bonding moment for that team?
Yeah. I mean, like, you could just watching Matt Rempe get everyone fired up too. How could you not like be happy to play for a guy like that? Sure, he's a rookie, his first year and stuff, but
and the fact that it wasn't just everyone backed off and let Rempe and McDermott fight. It was a 5v5 fight. Which means it's like a team thing. They're all in this together.
Yep.
And that is the attitude you want going into the playoffs. And honestly, after this game, I think I'm a little higher on the Rangers than I was last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because of the team chemistry?
Because I think that matters so much in the playoffs. You can overcome a lot of deficit if you have good chemistry, right?
Yeah.
We saw it with the Panthers.
Yeah.
We saw it with that first Vegas team that we just talked about.
That's right. Yeah.
We've seen it before, and seeing that spark, and we're just right in that window of any spark you have now can push you to a hot streak into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I said last week that I wouldn't be surprised by a first round exit from the Rangers. I think that might be out the window now.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, that's something that I could see a deep playoff team doing.
Yeah. This also kind of goes along the whole theory of having Michael Haley in the playoffs for the Sharks, like that tough guy to like, show some heart. I think that's good.
A lot of people over the years have played that role.
Yeah.
Michael Haley, Ryan Reeves is what Toronto has now. Jody Shelley was famous for this a few teams. It's a part of hockey.
Yeah.
It's a part of hockey.
Whether you want to admit it or not, a lot of the playoffs, there's many factors to a Stanley Cup champion. Obviously, you need a good roster, resilience. You need to have a little bit of luck too.
Yeah.
But if you don't have heart, good luck. You're done. Yeah. I mean, that entire 2018, we were just talking about it, the Vegas Cinderella run, that was a lot of heart and a lot of passion.
And they lost to the one team that had more heart than them that year.
Yeah, nobody was stopping Ovi.
Yeah.
Ovi was just, God himself was not stopping Ovi. So, you know what I mean? Like, so
I cannot think of a champion that won based off their skill alone.
No.
They all had to have some level of grit, some level of heart.
I'll go as far as to say the Lightning don't go to 3 straight finals if they don't get absolutely embarrassed by Columbus in 2019.
Yeah, that was a catalyst.
Yeah, that was the fire under their
ass. You look through all of hockey history, there's always a catalyst.
Yeah.
And this could be one for the Rangers.
Yeah, if Matt Rempe is that guy for the Rangers, that's a pretty valuable signing. Yeah. And we've talked about him going to other teams. Like I don't really see him a lifelong Rangers, but like still a very invaluable role, like especially for teams going to the playoffs, you know?
Yeah.
Great like trade deadline piece too.
Yeah. So you can name any team that, I would argue any team that's even just been to the final, maybe not even won, but been to the final, has some catalyst in their recent years if you look back.
Yep. Yeah. You need that passion, and I'm glad this got the attention that it deserved, and you know, hopefully it keeps going. Obviously, you don't want players getting injured or anything, but let's not bullshit ourselves. Fighting is good for the sport. It is good for the marketing of the sport, and it should remain a part of the game.
And speaking of marketing, what better time to get eyes on the NHL than leading right into the playoffs?
Right. Still, man, that's a lot of good publicity for the perfect time.
Yep, perfect timing. And if you are interested in following along for the NHL playoffs and beyond, we'll be here on Glass Seats. We have 3 episodes out every week. Yep. So hit like on this one, hit subscribe for the future ones, and we'll see you in those episodes.
Peace.